Hi, I'm Heather Matthew. I'm a paper maker and an artist, and this is my inside studio. So I make paper that's embedded with story, with the story that comes from the fibres that I use to what those fibres might have been used for. So my recent work has been about the floods. So the first lot of how I came to embed paper with this kind of mud and marks was after my studio got flooded in South Mooloolaba. I had a paper making studio under an old Queenslander house, and the flood came through and went through the paper drawers, and all the papers were marked with this mud mark. So I started using those papers to tell a story about floods and also resilience in the wake of climate change. Now, in February 2022, the waters came up here, the flood waters came up into my Pottsville home and lapped away at the garage door. And my husband used sandbags to protect our home. And when I came back from overseas, when I was doing my residencies, I then washed the sandbags and dipped them in paper pulp to see what they would look like. And I really liked it. So I then started to create more work about humans and climate change. Like the water lapping at the garage door. So I'm not looking for perfect, I'm looking for story. I'm looking for embedding the story into the paper. I started off with banana paper, and I was using the fibre from the banana trees that grew here in the northern New South Wales. And the banana paper is so beautiful, it feels like skin. And I would start to make marks on it with ink and rusting. And this then gave me the idea to make a banana paper quilt embedded with place when I made it in Central Australia at my artist residency. And I also use the fibres of the place. So this paper is from Central Australia grasses, native grasses that's been cooked up and then beaten. And I made the paper and then I rusted it with implements and old discarded metal things I found. This was actually an embroidery that I found in an opportunity shop, a charity shop. I dipped it in paper, I turned it round. It carries with it the memory of women's hands working and embedding their soul into the works that they would use to embellish their house. So this human occupation and the striving to keep creativity alive in whatever form that is. And as I stitch, I'm stitching my story and my emotions and feelings into it, because a lot of this is all about the way we've come to the land and treated it as foreign, because it was so, it's so beyond our comprehension from a predominantly European base. We haven't understood the story that comes with landscape, the storylines that the First Nations people live. So I had some rusted paper and I had an old iron out the back, and I thought of my time when we lived in the high country of Victoria, and I had a Rayburn stove, and I would actually use a hot metal iron on the Rayburn stove to iron the clothes. And this is one of the patterns made by the iron. And I thought about, how we left Victoria because of the bushfires and how our climate is changing so much. This is called scorcher. This is, again, a collage pieces and layer to create these layers of time and memory and meaning. And that's what I do.